because if you reflect back, then you're messing into my business in some sense. Whereas if I hear from you, that's you. Is it like that?
If I have something from you where I feel I exist for you, I've touched you, I've gotten to you, yeah, I feel more present.
Ah.
If I'm just getting my words, even though I trust you're feeling your way along to stay checking in on the attunement.
Then you're over there by yourself.
That's, yes, I'm
floating over there.
Yes.
I get it.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
I get it, and it's really interesting because it's the reverse of what I would have said, and yet I understand it very well.
Okay, well, I don't know what you would have said.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. See, that gets me interested.
Oh.
See,
okay, well, I'll tell you afterwards.
But no, I like that, and
you meant by getting interested that it was a good thing I did.
Yes,
yes.
Didn't
have to hear it this minute.
Again, I feel like I exist.
Sure, makes sense. You exist in the interaction. You
Yes.
exist by touching
Right.
me and seeing that you did.
All right, so now here's a moment where I'm not sure if I'm doing something in my interest, in my own development or not. Almost from the beginning of my work as a therapist analyst, I have wanted to come from someplace inside. If I hadn't lived it, I don't know when I came up with this, but if I haven't lived it, I can't do much for somebody else. So from I think my anxiety, my fear is that since I know the difference between the skilled therapist listener and the less skilled, I put myself in that second group.
That I haven't understood. The skilled therapist is the one that you hear, you feel him, her.
Yeah, you're skilled. I can feel, experience you're skilled.
See, for us now, that's the word skilled means that. Then it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. And you put yourself in the less skilled group while
Yeah,
you're doing
right.
that?
So since I hate those moments of misattunement, if I'm really, I could do my old way, which was in training in hypnosis, I experienced myself with a beginner hypnotist, and I just went thump, and I actually saw the image of a steel door. I stopped listening to the guy, and I went off on my own trip. And I always said, ooh, I saw my dissociative process. Mm-hmm. Isn't that interesting? It's a steel door. I think I prefer having the door lifting and having these uncomfortable feelings of, I hate this.
Yeah.
I'm
but
irritated.
Are you hating it as a therapist or as the client?
Now, I'm the client when
You're the
I'm
client,
yeah,
right now.
I'm the one being
Okay,
listened to.
okay.
But then I put myself, oh, is that how people feel when I'm
I do
there
it.
when I do it?
Oh, okay.
Why should it be
okay.
any different?
Well, do you just say back? Do you do the thing
Do
you
what?
hate?
No, no. I was never trained. That's some of my discomfort with this whole focusing training. I'm adapting it to my own way, which is way I introduce it with, excuse me, can I interrupt you? And I want permission for that.
Yeah,
And I don't always get that.
that's fine. Now, when you
yeah.
get it, then what do you do?
Then I'll say,
then?
I want to check something out.
I see. And that to you is better because you're manifesting yourself and your intent.
Ah, okay, yeah. I hadn't seen it that way. Yeah, because I'm thinking that it might be a pretty simple thing. I really like your foof, foof, foof. See, for me, the foof, foof, foof it's playful, and it's a less intense level of, I hate this.
Yes.
The
yes.
intensity of
yes,
it
it's back
is...
to the hate. I was also coming back to it. Back to the hate. Is that because you're supposed to put up with it? Is that because you're supposed to think it's okay? Is that... But right now you're almost saying why it is. The less intense this thing makes it not so hateful. I think you... No, you didn't mean that. I didn't understand what you meant.
It has to do with what can be handled. I don't know whether it's my own baggage that says I don't think that you could handle my hate.
Yeah.
Although you did.
Yeah, I can, but
right.
It's not clear that the shaky person that you're describing
That's right.
can handle it.
Right. So if I'm sensing there's somebody shaky,
but okay.
For me, it's not a question that can be asked. Can you stand it if I hate you?
Yeah, no, you can't do that. But
no.
Does it mean you can't do anything? You're just
no,
supposed to swallow it down?
Yeah, that's been that point that was not clear and was confusing. But I can imagine saying the woof woof, what would it do to you?
Ah, yeah, it's already different.
Right? What would it do to you if I said, no, 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 or woof, 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 woof?
Yeah.
Somehow, woof, 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 woof. I would wait to see if somebody, it tickles my funny bone. And that feels more comfortable. So I would hope that it might tickle the funny bone of the shaky person.
If you didn't just say, oh, that's terribly wrong what you said, or you would simply say, oh, put that aside, I want to tell you again.
I've done that.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. It makes you less hate.
I'm trying, yes. Yeah, I wasn't aware that if I say, no, 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 or no, that's not it. It's the thread into the hate is pretty clear. It's
It feels like you're expressing the hate. I haven't understood the thread into the hate. If you say, no, no, that's not it at all.
I can experience, I can feel the thread into
The hate is
the
right
hate.
there.
Yeah, that's right. It's bubbling. It's a cauldron.
And what you hate is having to express yourself from the depth to somebody who isn't going to get it. That's a try. I don't mean it.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Yeah, if somebody doesn't want to go there, I want to respect that.
But then it leaves you.
It leaves me, but
Right.
there's something about going, foof, 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 foof,
That lightens it.
that internally transforms it.
Ah.
There's something that I didn't understand when you were doing it earlier that appealed to me. There's something there.
There's something there. And
with the foof, foof, foof,
it's
foof.
not the hate. It's an alternative. It gets you out of having to hate.
Well, I can laugh at myself. There's an element of laughing, a lightness of...
There's a lightness to it. Yes, yes.
Of,
There's a laughing to it. It's not so desperate.
Uh-huh. I'm not sure of this. I don't know if it's something that's wanting and we'll try and make something be that isn't because the wanting is so great. But it sort of feels to have the misattunement lighter.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, the misattunement is not as important. It's not a life issue. It's not.
Right.
I get it.
Okay. With my mother, it was a life issue.
Yeah, there.
So there's something in the lightening of the touch
Right.
of that moment
Gets it out of repeating that.
that sets back. Okay, that's
Yes.
baggage.
Yeah,
I
I'm
can.
past that.
Well, I don't know that I'm past it.
No,
I carry
in this
it.
moment.
In
only.
this, that's right. In this moment. Oh wait, I can disengage.
Yes, yes, yes.
And it doesn't feel so heavy in.
Yes.
Wait. This is just.
I won't get better from
No,
that.
no. So, just to the lighter touch, the foof, foof, foof.
Yeah. It gives you a breath of fresh air there in that spot. Well, that's too much maybe, but it's something. It lets you laugh. It takes away the heavy.
Yeah, takes
That
away
it
the
does.
heavy,
That it
and
does.
that's where I'm testing out the word, whoa, is that, somehow the word transformation feels a little bit too big deal.
Too big, yeah.
But it's on that movement, so it's in that of development. So something's developing there.
Yes, yes, I can feel that. Something is developing there. And all the words I can think of are too big also. Some freedom, some going free from that, something not life and death, not being unseen.
It's an alternative to having a button pushed and a reaction.
Right. It's an alternative. Yes, I get it. It's an alternative. I don't have to be re-stimulated on that old thing.
And have the hatred
Flood up.
I think it's the rising up. It's the steam is, there's the cauldron there. And yes, the sensitivity to misattunement is, I don't want to give that up.
No.
That's
from the beginning I felt that, but I misunderstood you there. It's the re-stimulating that makes it heavy. It's not that you don't accept.
There's heaviness, but I also think too hot to handle.
Because the other person will, whatever, be hurt. No.
Yeah, no.
It's too hot to handle.
It's too hot to
also.
Yeah, too hot to handle for me.
Yeah, I didn't get it right.
And also too hot to handle in the other person.
It's too hot to handle for the other person, but it's too hot for you to have to,
Yeah, we're just in a focusing partnership.
Right.
Part of that contract is not to be handling all this hot stuff.
Amen. Who wants to live their mother over again? Just
Right.
To be in a focusing partnership.
Yeah. And my mother, your mother.
Anybody.
Yeah. I mean, we don't want a relationship between our mothers.
Between our mothers.
No way.
Right, that's right. We won't just have your mother, then we have the other person's too, of course.
I don't know what your mother did.
Amen.
I mean, whoa. I can't handle my mother. I don't want to have to handle your mother.
Agreed.
So. Yeah. Yeah, but it really, so it really gives another dimension as a therapist to be open to the feeling of, whoa, I think this is too hot to handle.
Yes.
And to refine, let me see here about just a light touch here maybe.
Yes.
Just to let a little of the steam, to be open to it. I don't know where that'll take me, but I like it.
That's an opening. It's a direction.
Yeah.
It's not here yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, thank you.
I think we did okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sharon. Thank you.
Oh, I guess we get to talk some more. Yes.
So.
I want to hear from them, whatever they
Yes.
saw.
What did you notice there? What did you notice, and what happened here?
So I wanted to actually bring this back to the discussion
Sure.
about relationship. It seems that one of the ways in which what happened, one of the factors of what happened, client is discussing something about what happens in relationship and affects sense of self. One of the things that's happening together with Jean is the kind of relationship, not wanting the relationship of being parroted to, but wanting a relationship that has more engagement.
Yes.
So, to bring it back to the discussion earlier, it's not the issue about having focusing or relationship or whether relationship is present or not, but is what kind of relationship.
Yes,
And so-
exactly.
And so, that's more fruitful to think of it in terms of different kinds of relationship as opposed to is there relationship or is there importance there or not.
Well, to me, the relationship needs to be real. So if this person says, for me, your reflecting is not real, the hell with reflecting. What do I want it for? Now, if I wanted to check whether I understand, there's 100 other ways to do that. You can ask a question or you could, anything. So why would I want to do what the person informs me makes them feel alone? That's focusing? No. right?
No, absolutely, but what's interesting is just simply in terms of describing it. Obviously, focusing will always be within a relationship.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is to notice, it's the point about pointing out something about relationship is not to say that it is or is not in focusing, but to say that maybe clinically it's going to be interesting to pay attention to the kind of relationship, because then it's going to help you get a more productive session, which you did, because you didn't respond by saying no, focusing is this way, but you
But-
adapted to the...
But what you mean by kind of relationship doesn't come in kinds. It's a function of this person.
No, granted, of course, it's a function of this person, but it's maybe, to the extent, I mean, it's absurd to isolate relationship
That's
as
right.
if it existed in and of
Right.
itself.
Right, that's right.
But to the extent, the same way as say I can say I have an arm and the arm is not separate from my body,
Yeah,
but to some
Right.
extent I can describe the arm.
I agree. I
uh,
agree.
This is, an attention is paid to
Yeah.
the type, the quality, the exchange, the
Right,
the
right.
relationship.
And I would say the quality is exactly to have the other person real. That's the quality. Not whether it's reflecting or something else, but to have the other person real. So when I get, she could actually say it, but when I get a hint that what I'm doing is relating, but not where the person really is, I don't want that. That's not the kind of relating I want. The kind of relating I want is the kind that has focusing in it, sort of, without separate time for it. So another way to say it is what he said about an authentic relating, meaning the person can be authentic in it. And that's what you meant too, I think.
Right, so in a way you're carrying forward the focusing in the way you're relating to them.
Yeah, yeah, and carry forward the relating in how I'm honoring how they're there, which was surprising to me, but made sense. Yes, yes, yes.
I've been trying to figure out how to say this for the time I've been here, but I'm not a therapist. And
Okay.
I guess one of my questions goes back to your thought on what's the goal of the session and what's the goal of therapy and all of that. What if therapy, or the fact that there's no therapist in the partnership, what's intrinsically different? And I guess I invite both of you to answer that. Is there something about putting therapy in the mix that's making the focusing process, what's the difference? And
What is it? There are big, big differences. Should I just rattle off some and then we'll see if it satisfies you?
Yeah, I guess,
So one difference to me is that as a therapist, I take a continuing responsibility. And as a partner, maybe I don't. That is, it may be assumed between us that I'm going to be there next Tuesday, the same as tonight, but that's about it. Whereas as a therapist, I've assumed a connection with another life, with another person. And to me, that means I've got to bring in whatever I know about that could help. So there's certain things I know exist, but I can't do them, so then I send that person to somebody. I say, look, I'm not going out from under you, but this week go to this person. She knows how to do energy in a way that I don't, or whatever it is. But whereas the other flip side of it is, if the partner misunderstands you and tells you something stupid, you just get rid of the partner or something like that. But you don't get as hurt as you do when your therapist, even of some years standing, tells you that you try to make it all right, you try to figure out how it could be true, and all the time you know that it's not. So therapists are much more dangerous than partners. Now, the public thinks the other way. A therapist is supposed to know what they're doing, and the partner doesn't. But the partner says something stupid, you're not.
That's great, thank you.
Yes. And then somebody back there did you want to say something? Yeah. Say something and then bring her the mic afterwards.
Okay. What I was observing in terms of the whole beginning, when there was like no, I don't want the mirroring, I don't want the reflection. What seemed to me a constant was that you were continually trying to understand, well, what's that? The mirroring. What about the mirroring is not good?
Sure.
What is it you're not liking?
Sure.
What's in there that makes it bad? And then how can I, also with the intention of what can I do that would make it good? Because that was clear too. What was interesting was after a period of time when we got to what it was that was missing and there wasn't a sense of the person there, responding, being present, being affected. Toward the end, you were pretty much reflecting. Yes. And it was okay. At that point, it seemed to be okay.
Sure.
So something had gotten understood. And once
Well, I didn't think I was reflecting. I thought I was doing the same function, but I was actually asking questions and I was making comments and I was saying how I understood it.
You were checking your understanding out
Yeah,
with her.
yeah.
Is that different from reflection?
But you can do that. You can say to somebody very sensitively, I think you're saying da-da-da-da-da, or you can say, Jesus Christ, that would piss me off. And it's still a reflection. Especially if you don't mean to shift it over to yourself.
Oh, okay. You're still staying with the person.
Yeah, you're sharing the anger that she didn't quite have or whatever. Instead of saying, aren't you angry?
I was noticing how you very caringly kept putting yourself explicitly into it so that it wouldn't feel the way she didn't want it to
Yeah,
feel.
but it felt...
So each thing
yeah,
that you would say, what we call an I statement,
yeah,
along with
yeah, but it's
some
actually
checking out.
Yeah, but it was also a kind of vacation for me. It was like I was permitted to make I statements instead of very carefully making sure that I've only got what they mean. Here I was welcome to...
So it was good for both of you.
Let it
It
flow.
was
So
a
I didn't-
vacation for her, too.
But I didn't think, I just knew that, yeah, I did think that sort of, but not, I wasn't asked to very caringly manipulate myself and my responses. I was given permission to let myself be more present, and I know how to do it. I worked most of my life at being visible. And so if somebody says, be visible, no, sure, I'm right there. But yeah, you're right. Yes, back there.
Hold the mic a little closer.
It's not there yet.
Oh, no wonder. There we go.
Yeah, I thought it was fascinating, and I think the sensitivity of the subject, so to speak, I thought the sensitivity to your feelings was really fascinating.
Her sensitivity?
Her sensitivity to her own,
Yes,
the way
yes.
she was able
Oh,
to
yeah.
look inside and be
Right.
sensitive to her own feelings, I thought was fascinating. What I was puzzled about and intrigued about is when she said it's, when you said that it was felt intrusive
Yes,
somehow.
yes.
And I thought that was interesting because I never would have thought that, I never would have seen that, I
Right.
never heard somebody else say that.
Right, right.
And I was sort of puzzling because I don't think that really got explained. I'm not sure, but I felt a little bit that she just let it go nicely, but
Yes.
it was a mystery to me.
Yes.
I
Well,
didn't-
I did what I always do, which is inside of myself, I go looking for that. And I found it right away, but I didn't have a chance to check my way of feeling intruded with her. Well, I did check it briefly, but didn't check out. The way you want the way I experienced it? What I found, it was also the opposite to me. Because to me, reflecting is not intrusive. I'm always saying, be as close as you can to the other person with minimal intrusion. And here she's saying minimal intrusion is intrusive. So it was very interesting. But when I went inside to look for it, I found it right away. Well, to me it is, well, I said it back to her, but it wasn't right for her. To me it is, when you reflect back, I could feel it as you're mongering into my territory. You pretend that you're doing my business, and so then I don't see you, but you're doing something. What are you doing? You're doing something that I don't see, but you're pretending that I need to hear this, or you're pretending that I'm not okay unless you say it back, or it's like you're making me feel like a patient. Whereas if you let yourself show, then I'm not threatened. I know where you are, and also it doesn't feel like you're mongering into my business. It feels like I'm part of your business, and you're telling me. So, but I checked that with her, and that didn't do anything. That's not exactly what she meant. But what about you? Can you feel it as intrusive?
Yeah, and I've never thought of that before, ever. But I mean,
Well, I haven't either in those terms, no.
I haven't either, but I felt, I could sort of sense what she said, that somebody.
No, many people have said,
Words is somehow.
yeah, no, every couple of months there's somebody who doesn't want me to reflect. But it has different reasons, not intrusive. It's more like, well, I can stand just to say, I can barely stand to say it. I can't stand to hear it back. And I understand that very easily. But that's different. It's quite different.
When what the client is experiencing is a surprise, it makes it even more inviting to listen closely, because you don't know what that is. Like, what's that? That thing that I never came across before exactly.
Oh,
that
yeah.
way.
Oh, yeah.
And that's always the case
Oh,
actually with
yeah.
every session, but when it's, when you recognize it right away, that's oh, sorry. That's a nice thing. Do we have another comment?
Yes, I do. I just want to say one thing that she said at the very beginning, which is the way I responded to the mirroring thing. She said when she was with these partners who got caught up in the method or the steps of focusing, and she was focusing on misattunement. That's a phrase she used many, many times.
Yes.
And it seemed to me that there was something about the formulaic quality of that.
The formulaic?
Formulaic quality. In other words, I'm just doing what the steps are
Oh,
told.
yeah.
I'm not attuning to her as a person, and that reflected her, what she was saying about the emotional neglect, or, whatever.
Yes.
So that if things like pure reflection, which has an automatism to it,
Yes.
she could respond to it in that way.
Yes, see now, that's different. So we all can find, I don't know, we all can find, but what we find of how you would feel intruded is different than how I would feel intruded, and probably different from how she feels.
Right. It's just that one point that she said at the beginning about being with people who got caught up in the method, I think is the phrase that you said. Or
Now wait,
the
you want her
steps.
to feel the same thing. She
No,
might,
No, I'm just saying.
but maybe not.
I'm checking with you. Do you remember what you said? It was sort of like, okay. I was just reflecting a certain phrase that she used when she first spoke to you, that I was picking up on, when she was talking about partners who got caught up in the method. I think that's pretty close to
Yeah.
what she said.
Yeah.
I just want to underscore this idea that we sense into our own experience, that we're, as the therapist, we're focusing into our own experience, which is going to be different than the client. So our implicit intricacy will be different, but that process of sensing into it leads us in a direction that then can be helpful if the client feels us looking for them and trying to find what they're expressing, and that experience of the other one looking for me as a client is a very important experience.
Sure.
want to say, when we started, I thought, well, it's pretty obvious what she needs. She needs to say it more politely and not just let her anger out. But then it would be just sort of intellectual, as they should
Sure.
live through the
Sure.
experience.
Sure. Well, that's a good example of how what
I love
actually
that.
comes out of the person is so different and so many turns that usually I'm always happy that I didn't say the last thing. Now I have the right thing to say. And a minute later I'm happy I didn't say that either, because now we're in a totally different world. It had nothing to do with what I was going to say. That's the way it goes.
I want to dovetail on what you said, Jean, because if we're solving the problem, if we're coming at it of, oh, here's a problem, and I have the solution, she could say it in not such a, a harsh way. She could be more polite.
Yeah. Oh,
then
yeah.
that's one way of coming
Oh,
at it.
yeah. Oh,
but
yeah.
but the other way, as you said, Jean, they were living through it, so that the therapy session is a living further of the very thing that's being talked about. And then that's on a very deep level, so that she had the experience of going through the feeling of hate with Jean, and then seeing something that helped it, and his tolerating the hate and also going with the thing that helped, and all of these turns of step by step living through that thing, which then reaches back to the original thing in some way and forward to the thing with the partner. So I'm just sort of saying a little bit more than you did about the living it, rather than solving the
But
problem.
I was prepared when you introduced her as this being a supervision. And after you and I had talked about the different purposes, I know that in supervision, I rattle off the various things that I can do in case they haven't heard of them or haven't thought of them. I do
Right.
it very quickly, so we don't lose touch with what's disturbing,
Right.
to do what you said.
Yes,
But
yes,
I
of
want
course.
to, so I would have first said what I thought she was going to say from your introduction was something completely different. But I had something ready to say. I said, oh, I know, do you know this way of handling that? And you probably do. Okay.